You've got to have something to say, I think, in Comdes.
Communicating ideas and concepts to fit a brief in a way that's still fun and engaging.
Teaches you how to be a bit like a maker as well as being ready for industry.
Practical skills, critical thinking and ways of kind of like problem solving.
Finding the best technique to communicate ideas and concepts.
It's really free. Experiment with whatever you want, concentrating on meaning.
A lot of wandering. I'm never sitting in the same place for very long.
Well, it's obviously about communicating, and that's like really important, but it's through lots of different mediums.
The openness that the course allowed for, you could basically do anything.
Because you start out with something like drawing, but then that leads to lots of different areas as well.
This is so broad. Everyone's doing so many different things. I couldn't really think of another course that would maybe have been so broad.
Having the choice of like graphics and illustration and photography, I think it's nice to kind of test all those waters and see what specialism you want to choose.
Although we have 3 specialisms in third year, there's so many other things that people do. Like there's people doing textiles in Comdes, there's people doing sculpture.
Animations and films, and there's drawing, really diverse, I think is the main thing.
Going to art school was more about learning how to think creatively instead of learning how to draw well.
There's a lot of thinking involved and there's a lot of problem solving.
Whilst you have the option to do quite traditional kind of design practices, encourage more kind of conceptual thought.
I think that's what GSA emphasizes a lot. The process is such a rich period of your artistic life, and maybe much more than the outcome itself.
I think when you move into your specialism, I think that's when it really goes up a notch.
It was a bit of a shock having to specialise and become more conscious of why you're producing and what you're producing.
Although like a big part of the course isn't actually defining yourself under that bracket, it's good to be able to start distilling what you do.
It's not just like you're a graphic designer, like you find out about something and you go and like research it. Like I don't think I would have been like become engaged in so many different topics and stuff if I hadn't come here.
Great part of third year is actually figuring out who you are as an artist.
It took me a long time to realise that illustration wasn't just drawing. So I feel like maybe I'm on the outskirts with the medium I use, because I use a lot of textiles, but I think what I'm doing is illustrating a situation and an idea.
A big part of it is narrative, which I find really interesting.
Narration and pace, and also like the rhythm in a story, how you give a sense of space in your work.
How to relate to people and what colours talk to people, what signs and symbols and connotations talk to people.
Thinking about the world around you and how you fit into it and what you want to say about it.
Having the studio space and being surrounded by different people, but you're all kind of a similar mindset and you're working towards a degree and you collaborate and
You're kind of talking through your ideas in a way you wouldn't if you were at home. So that studio environment's really important, I think.
It's a small course as well, so you feed off each other. It's like a bit more like a family.
You become such a tight-knit group of people and you learn as much from them as you learn from the tutors.
Like you get so much learning just from like seeing people physically do stuff. So like just being able to see other people draw, you can watch their hand make the mark, is like at an invaluable level.
I spent my time trying to dip into a lot of other facilities.
You've got all this stuff at your fingertips. I guess it helps you bring diversity to your folio, and learning these skills means that your ideas can take whatever form you need to.
The tutor's always there if you want to ask them questions about your work, about not your work, but they're not always over your shoulder telling you what to do, so they're kind of helping you grow as creative thinkers as opposed to telling you what to do.
You have like a proper relationship with them, I think, and they know who you are and what sort of work you like to do and what your interests are.
They're really approachable. I think you definitely know that they want to help you. They feel pretty passionate about it.
And being involved in group crits and being supported really did set me up for independent working.
There's loads of little exhibitions that people put on themselves. There's loads of departmental exhibitions. Twilight classes, the twilight classes, so there's loads of stuff to do out with studio time.
They put on great talks, great events, great workshops. Again, they're always a good laugh as well. They get some great people involved.
You're stepping into like an established designer or artist's mind almost, and actually getting an insight into their processes is probably one of the most beneficial things.
I think I'm going to go back to that whole like community thing. If you're like walking down the street here, you'll bump into people you know.
Because it's a small school, especially with the union as well, you always meet someone.
That's what I got from Glasgow, in that having creative friends and keeping creative friends.
GSA definitely is like the hub of a really serious and massive art community in Glasgow.
If you know people at Glasgow School of Art, then you know people in the wider creative world of Glasgow. It's very well integrated.
Glasgow's its total own little hub. Its art scene and design scene and music scene are also like intertwined, and it's really close-knit. I feel like you're going to really make relationships with people that are going to be lasting.
Out of all the things I've learned here, probably to be playful.
Put more emphasis on the process and value question marks along the way.
To not sort of rest on my laurels, push my work further and further and kind of explore things more than I maybe would have if I didn't have that kind of guidance.
It gave me a confidence to articulate my ideas and to work in a way that is experimental, which is something that you feel slightly challenged doing in industry, because there's always an economy of money and time, and you really need to be able to justify to yourself and to who you're working with why you're spending time fiddling around and making experiments at the beginning of a project, because the outcome will be far richer for it.
Just go and do it, because it might not work, but if you really think it's going to, then you've got the vision in your head.
In a way, it's kind of like I'm still in education with GSA.
I'm able to teach myself, I think, at this point.
Even if I was to get a studio after this, it will never be the same as the studio that we've had here.